Rev up your engines!
Well, Volvo's coming out with a tiny X30 SUV that they say is going to start at $35,000 and go 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. Realize this, Volvo schmalvo. It's just another Chinese electric car with the name Volvo in front of it. The Chinese bought Volvo a long time ago, right? When they start importing those into the United States, exactly what I said is going to be happening. They're going to be making electric cars in China and send them over here. So you can call it a Volvo, right? But it's really a Chinese electric car with the name Volvo on it. Now it's going to hit the streets, they say, in 2024, and then they could go fast by having extra electric motors on it. They'll have a total of 422 horsepower with these two motors. And like I said, it's going to go 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. Well, let's see, you got a little SUV going that fast. Here's a recipe for disaster. The soccer moms are going to be smashing into each other with that one. Now they say it gets 265 to 275 miles. Well, it is going to get that if you're going 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds all the time. Electric motors at higher speeds are inefficient. So, you know, the range, as per usual, is probably a bold-faced lie of what it's actually going to get in the real world when you're running the AC that uses energy or running the heat in the winter when you're cold. And they say you'll be able to charge from 10 to 80% in 26 and a half minutes. Granted, you got to have a supercharger then. This isn't a home job. The home ones are still going to take 7-8 hours, right? At a level 2, and a level 1 would take 4 days or something, right? This Volvo EV, now it's going to be produced in the Zhangzhou plant in China. It's a Chinese car. And guess what? That particular plant is operated by Geely. That's Volvo's controlling shareholder. So like I said, it's going to say Volvo, but this ain't a Volvo. This is a Geely. It's a Geely electric car, but it'll say Volvo, right? They'll find a way to use the name on their own products, right? So you know, if electric cars are going to get popular, they're going to be making them in China and selling them over here. You know, it's just a fact that that's going to happen. In 2024, this thing's going to be out. So we'll see how people buy them. Do they hold up? If anybody makes the electric cars that are going to actually pan out, I can see the Chinese doing it and then calling them Volvos, even though they're not even made by Volvo. They're made by the parent company, Geely, but since they own Volvo, they can put the Volvo name on whatever the heck they want. Pete says, I got a question about ceramic coating. I went to the store and looked at McGuire ceramic coating. It says you spray it on and rinse it off. Is it any good? Is it a wax? Thanks. Everybody and their brothers and sisters are trying to sell ceramic coatings, right? There is no actual law about saying what a ceramic coating is. Ceramics are extremely hard. They can take heat, right? But you spray something on and rinse it off. Is it really going to stick on? I don't think so. Actual ceramic things like the ceramic tiles they used to have in the space shuttle to stop heat when they went back into the Earth's atmosphere, those are ceramic. They really work, right? But they're a big piece. And just spray a ceramic coating on the space shuttle and say, oh, well, that'll keep it from burning up in re-entry. No, right? Most of these things are just a straight gimmick. The ceramic coating. Some dealers will say, well, ceramic coat your car for $800. Do you think it's really going to do anything? You know, I don't think it does. Especially spray and wipe it off. Understand one thing. The primer on the metal, then there's different layers of color, then there's clear coat and la la la. Who's to say the ceramic coating is even going to attach itself to the top of your car? Because the top of your car already has a clear coat and probably has wax on it. So I wouldn't waste my money on that stuff. I think most of them are total scam. Waterboy69 says, I got an 08 Ford Focus. The transmission has lost reverse gear. 2008 Focus, automatic transmission. 165,000 miles. I drove, it won't go backwards. Now, sometimes it'll go backwards when it's hot, but when it's cold, it won't. What can I do? Help. All right, well, realize those Ford Focuses had one of the worst automatic transmissions ever built. Now, for certain models and years, Ford had a class action suit that they lost, and they have to either buy the car back or fix the transmission, and you don't have to pay anything, right? The deal was like they have to pay between $2,000 and $25,000, and every single person that I saw try to get money from Ford, they wanted to give them $2,000, $2,500. Of course, they don't want to give any money, and the lawsuit says they have to pay between $2,000 and $25,000. Of course, they're always going to go to the low end. You know what scumbags corporations are, right? Now, if not, drive it. Still runs. Then when it doesn't run anymore, junk the stupid thing. It's not worth fixing. To fix those transmissions is going to cost anywhere between $2,500 to $5,500. It's not worth it. Now, the Focuses were okay if they had a standard transmission. I had a customer with $250 on one with a standard manual transmission and a clutch. It's fine. No problems at all, right? He had to put a clutch in it, but those automatics are just garbage on those things. They're absolute garbage. So see if Ford will fix it. If not, drive it until it drops. Then never buy another Ford and get even with them. Ash 8521 says, I got a 7th generation Celica and I have delayed transmission. It's a 99. I changed the oil, transmission, and filter, but when I start it up, it takes 5 minutes or so for it to kick in. There's no engine light on. Then once it gets going, it goes okay. You change the filter and fluid. Didn't make any difference, right? The thing is, your transmission, you didn't say the mileage, is probably wearing out. Even Toyotas wear out. What's happening is this, and I see it all the time when they finally get old and wear out. Just like your car's engine, the transmission has an oil pump. It pumps the fluid inside the transmission to build up pressure. It isn't splash lubrication like a manual transmission. It's just gears and it splashes the oil. The automatics have an oil pump. The oil pump has to build up pressure or it won't move. Yours won't move until it warms up for a while. Obviously, that pump is starting to go out. To fix that stuff, you got to split the case. You got to do everything. Take it all apart. It's a very expensive job. Super expensive. So what I'll tell you is, go buy some of that Lucas slip-stop transmission additive. Take whatever, a quart out of the fluid and put a quart of that stuff in. Give it 250, 300 miles of driving and pray it gets better. Maybe there's varnish in there, it'll clear it out and it'll work. Because if that doesn't fix it, you're going to need another transmission. You're going to have that one rebuilt. And they're relatively complex in those 7th generations. Not that many guys know how to rebuild those things correctly, I'll tell you that. But it means the pump isn't taking a while to build up pressure. So try slip stop. Maybe it'll clear it out. You never know. You change the filter and fluid, that doesn't help. And if the Lucas doesn't, it just means your transmission's going out. Now, here's a trick a lot of guys will do. Say you start it and park, right? And you put it in drive and it won't move. Try this. Start it, put it in drive, but then put it in reverse. And if it starts backing up, back up a little ways, then put it forward. And a lot of times that primes the pump and it works. I've had people drive them years that way. Try that. It might work. RC Bull says, my 07 Toyota Yaris has the right front bouncing. On a 3-hour trip, the vibration started bouncing around. I had to slow to 35 to stop the bounce. What could cause it? Okay, well, odds are your right front strut is worn out. The struts have shock assemblies inside them, and when they wear out, instead of going harder to get up and down to absorb the shock, that's why they're called shock absorbers, right? Now it's more like when you hit bumps, it'll start bouncing and you lose control. Of course, jack it up. You never know. You might have a ball joint tie rod that's coming off, and when you jack it up, you pull it and it'll wiggle the wheel. But if you do that and the wheel doesn't wiggle, it means the strut's worn. And commonly, that's the problem. Now, it's an 07 Toyota. I really would advise you, if you change the right front strut, I'd change the left front strut to make it even. Because if the right front strut is worn, the thing's 17 years old now, I would change both front struts myself so it would drive evenly. Because if that one's worn, the other one is soon to follow, right? You didn't say how many miles you have, but I'm sure it's a reasonable amount of high mileage. And the struts just do wear out eventually. You can just look at them. And if you look at the right front one, put your hand inside where the big hydraulic rod is, and if it's all leaky and slimy with oil, then it blew the seal and all the oil came out of it. Well, check this out. Norwegian Cruise Line says they're going to make an all-electric ship with masts that go up and down with solar panels and wind power, right? I question this. Now, realize this electric-powered cruise ship is due out in 2030. That's 7 years from now. A lot can happen between now and then. But all I have to say, you're going to have solar panels and wind power these giant cruise ships. I took a cruise ship from Houston to Yucatan and back, right? They used over 1.5 million gallons of diesel fuel to power it on that one trip. Now, they don't talk about gallons. They tell you tons of fuel, right? It's a lot of energy. I can't see all that energy coming from little solar panels and some little weird sails that they have that collapse up and down, right? It's gonna, they say, include 3 giant retractable sails that also have solar panels on them. Right? All I have to say is, I wouldn't hold my breath on this one. The energy it takes to propel these gigantic cruise ships, every 50 feet that cruise ship went, it used up 1 gallon of diesel fuel. right? No way they're going to get batteries and solar power and wind to work for that, right? And of course, they're saying, oh, this is going to happen 2030. They're all playing to the politicians of, oh, zero emissions cruise. Cruise ships are gigantic energy hogs. They'll continue to be giant energy hogs. And some magic electric solar panel and wind isn't going to do what they say it's going to do. Boy, I can't wait till 2030 and see what happens with that. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.